The Watcher is based on a true story of a family tormented by a stalker after they moved into their dream house.
I feel that the police didn't really do their job. They should have done more.
Clearly, they are concerned about the real family that now calls this real house their home.
To hear a story like that happening in Westfield, it's like, oh my God.
Watcher has knocked Jeffrey Dahmer out of the #1 spot.
Actually never even lived here. They rented the house out. Spoiler alert, nor did the character who's portrayed as killing his entire family inside the Watcher house.
Not remotely realistic when it comes to Westfield. I mean, Westfield's such a beautiful community. It's a town of 30,000 people.
Imagine buying your dream home for $1.3 million. Days before moving in, you check the mail and find a letter that says, "I am the Watcher. I have been watching you." June 2014, Derek and Maria Broaddus just closed on a 6-bedroom house at 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey. The perfect suburban town, safe, quiet. Before they even moved in, a letter arrived addressed to the new owner. It began, "Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood." Then it got dark. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, and my father watched in the 1960s. It is now my time. Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? I will find out. The letter asked if they had brought the young blood the writer requested. It referenced their 3 children by name, and it was signed The Watcher. Over the next 3 years, more letters arrived. The writer knew when they were home, knew which rooms their children slept in, knew details about renovations not visible from outside. The family never moved in. Someone was watching them, someone who knew everything. For nearly a decade, investigators chased 4 theories. Was it the creepy neighbor next door? Was it the family themselves trying to escape a financial mistake? Was it a gamer obsessed with a dark video game character? Was it an elderly woman with a disturbing obsession? The Watcher was never caught. The case remains unsolved, and the house still stands on 657 Boulevard. This is the story of the most terrifying stalking case in American history, and the question that still haunts Westfield: who is the Watcher? Derek Broaddus was 40 years old, a senior vice president at an insurance company. He and his wife Maria had worked their entire lives to afford this house. 6 bedrooms, Dutch colonial style, built in 1905, everything they dreamed of. Then the first letter arrived, typewritten, no return address, postmarked from Kearney, New Jersey. The tone started friendly, but then, "Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family? Or was it greed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me." Derek called the police immediately. He contacted the previous owners, John and Andrea Woods. Had they received anything like this? Andrea Woods admitted, yes, 1 letter right before we moved out, but we thought it was a prank. Derek and Maria were horrified. The Woods had sold them this house knowing someone was watching it, and now that someone knew their children's names. The second letter proved the Watcher wasn't bluffing. "I am pleased to know your names now, and the name of the young blood you have brought to me. You certainly say their names often." The writer had been listening, close enough to hear them call their children inside the house. The letter continued, "Will the young blood play in the basement, or are they too afraid to go down there alone? I would be very afraid if I were them. It is far away from the rest of the house. If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream." Derek and Maria made a decision. They would never bring their children to 657 Boulevard again. The third letter knew about the renovations. It described specific rooms, specific windows, things not visible from the street. "It will help me to know who is in which bedroom. Then I can plan better." Whoever the Watcher was, they had access. They were watching in real time. The Broadduses installed cameras, hired private investigators, brought in forensic linguists and former FBI profilers. Nothing worked. And then the theories began. The creepy neighbor. Police immediately focused on the neighbors, specifically the Langford family. Michael Langford lived next door with his 90-year-old mother, Peggy. Neighbors described him as odd, reclusive, strange. Derek became convinced it was Michael. His house had a direct view of a specific porch mentioned in one of the letters, a porch not easily visible from anywhere else. Police questioned Michael Langford, searched his property, analyzed his handwriting, swabbed him for DNA. Nothing matched. Investigators went door to door through the entire neighborhood, collected DNA samples from dozens of residents, searched for typewriters. One piece of evidence gave them hope. DNA recovered from one envelope suggested the sender might be a woman. Could it be Peggy Langford? But the DNA didn't match her. It didn't match anyone in the neighborhood. Theory 1 collapsed. The creepy neighbor wasn't the watcher. So who was? The gamer. One night, while police were surveilling 657 Boulevard, a car stopped outside the house. It sat there, too long. Police approached. Inside was a young woman. She explained her boyfriend lived nearby. But then she said something strange. My boyfriend is into some really dark video games. In one of them, he plays a character called the Watcher. Police immediately wanted to question the boyfriend. 2 interviews were scheduled. He never showed up for either one. Without more evidence, they couldn't force him. The lead went cold. But it raised a disturbing possibility. What if the Watcher wasn't personal? What if it was just someone playing a sick game? Investigators dug deeper into the gaming theory. They looked for online communities, forums, chat rooms where people might role play as stalkers. They found nothing concrete. The family themselves. As the case dragged on and the Broadduses struggled to sell the house, a new theory emerged. What if they wrote the letters themselves? Some neighbors believed it. The Broadduses realized they couldn't afford the house. They wanted out. So they created the Watcher to escape. The evidence? The Broadduses tried to sell the house just 6 months after buying it. They lost $400,000. They sued the previous owners. They petitioned to tear down the house. To skeptics, it looked like desperation. Even worse, in 2017, Derek admitted to sending anonymous letters to neighbors who had criticized his family on Facebook. If Derek could send anonymous letters once, could he have sent them all along? But investigators who worked the case directly rejected this theory. Vince Gagliardi, who led the investigation, said, Maria was distraught every time I saw her. She was shaking. If Maria Broaddus was faking, she should play herself in the movie. The letters were too detailed, too specific, too real. Theory 3 didn't hold up, so if it wasn't the neighbors, wasn't a gamer, and wasn't the family, who was it? The elderly woman. By 2019, authorities had quietly settled on a final theory. The Watcher was likely an older woman who lived near 657 Boulevard. Why? The DNA recovered from the envelope. Female, older genetic markers, the typewritten letters, no digital trace, someone from a generation that still used typewriters. The obsessive focus on the house's history, someone who had lived in the neighborhood for decades, someone who felt ownership over 657 Boulevard, even though they'd never lived there. But here's the problem. They had DNA, they had a profile, they had a likely suspect pool, and they still couldn't find her. Either the woman had never been tested, or she'd refused, or investigators simply didn't have enough evidence to compel her. The case remains open, but it's not active. The Broadduses have moved on. The house was sold in 2019, and the Watcher silent. Not a single letter since. But before the letter stopped, one final message arrived, sent in 2017 after new renters moved in. It was the most threatening yet. To the vile and spiteful Derek and his wench of a wife, Maria. You wonder who the Watcher is? Turn around, idiots. Maybe you even spoke to me, one of the so-called neighbors who has no idea who the Watcher could be. Then it ended with a chilling threat, maybe a car accident, maybe a mild illness that never seems to go away, maybe the mysterious death of a pet. Loved ones suddenly die, planes and cars crash, bones break. This wasn't just about the house anymore. This was personal. This was revenge. And then silence. No more letters. No more threats. The watcher vanished as mysteriously as they had appeared. Today, 657 Boulevard looks like any other house in Westfield, New Jersey. The new owners have lived there for 6 years. They've never received a single letter from the watcher. Was it the creepy neighbor, the gamer, an elderly woman with an obsession, or someone else entirely? Derek and Maria Broaddus still live in Westfield. They think about the watcher every day. It's like cancer, Derek said. We can't escape it. 4 theories, hundreds of tips, years of investigation, 0 arrests. The watcher is still out there, watching, waiting, knowing they got away with it. What do you believe? Was it Theory 1, the neighbor, Theory 2, the gamer, Theory 3, the family, or Theory 4, the elderly woman? Drop your vote in the comments below. Subscribe to Vanished Mysteries for more cases where the truth refuses to surface. And if you haven't watched our Circleville Letters investigation, that's another case where anonymous letters terrorized a town for decades. The watcher may be silent, but the mystery will never die. 4 theories, 6 years of terror, 0 answers. Which theory do you believe? Comment. 1 for neighbor, 2 for gamer, 3 for the family, or 4 for elderly woman.